Hi, I'm William I. Robinson, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to personalize your AI-created meal plan. So in this video, we're going to be personalizing your meal plan that we made with AI. Right here, let's go for it. So I have all the information I need. I need a meal plan for a 23-year-old female who weighs 120 pounds. She has a 30% body fat and a 1,300 calorie total energy expenditure. She's sedentary. She doesn't have a structured meal plan, but she does plan on working out but doesn't have a set time. She doesn't have any health issues, illnesses, and she doesn't have any food allergies. She's not a picky eater, and she said that we could just pick a food and make sure that it's healthy and balanced for her. So we're gonna do that. And I wanna make sure that we're using the guidelines of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Send. One thing about this client here I want to share is if you think about it, she didn't weigh very much, but she had a very high body fat for her weight. And this is exactly what happens to younger women and why so many women become obese and overweight at 30 and 40. And because they realize, hey, I was skinny. You know, this is a type of person that has, you know, the fat tias and, you know, all the overweight women saying, I remember when I looked like you. And they don't know what happened. But what happened is this female right here is about 10 to 15 pounds under muscle. She has a very low muscle mass because she's not exercising, she's not eating well, so she's getting thinner and thinner on the inside, which gives her a lower metabolism, which makes it very easy for her to gain weight. So we're going to design a program for her that stops that, increases her metabolism, increases her muscle mass, and drops her body fat and sets her up for a successful future. Okay, so right here, 1,300 calories, so it's gonna create a meal plan right at her total energy expenditure, and then I'll have her follow up in 8 weeks, and then as she builds muscle and starts exercising more, we'll increase her muscle, increase her caloric intake. So that's why it's important to go to a place to get your body fat tracked with a Bod Pod or a DEXA. Okay, so we have, so I don't know, it's assuming that it's a pre-workout snack and it's assuming that, but I don't like that. So you can see it's assuming right here a snack, but I didn't tell it about the workout. So we need to go in here and tell them no. Okay, so you're assuming a workout. I don't want you to assume a workout. I just want a meal plan based off the schedule I gave you. And let's start over from there. You got to make sure sometimes when you're dealing with OpenAI, it's going to do a lot of assumptions. But when you're working on your own schedule, you're going to have a lot of that personal stuff already worked out. But I want to show you how easy it is to go in there and edit and to make this work. Okay, good. So now, I'm going to see if I agree with this. So 7:30, 11, a 2 p.m. snack. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So a lot of times you got to look at your personal schedule and see how that is going to work out there. And I'm just trying to see if the timings work out good here. Just because what's throwing a wrench in it is her 6:30 p.m. dinner and making sure the snacks. But the one thing I don't like is from 6:30 to 11 p.m. That's over a 4-hour gap, and more than likely she's going to get hungry there and probably going to be eating or binging. So what might be the best thing is to make this go like this. Okay, so what I want is I want the 7:30 a.m. breakfast. I want an 11:30 a.m. lunch. Let's do a 2:30 p.m. snack, a 6:30 p.m. dinner, and then let's do a 9 p.m. snack. So that's still keeping within the rules of eating breakfast within 30 minutes of waking up and then eating every 2 to 4 hours. You gotta be realistic. Now, she doesn't know when she's going to work out, so the reality is something she has to work out, because more than likely, if you don't have a goal, you gotta prioritize things. You know, just being in here, she don't have that because she hasn't really thought about it. So the reality of her working out is probably next to none. But I pray that she does get that. So what I'm looking at now is the timing is where I want it. So now I'm just looking at the calories, making sure the calories are right. Then I'm going to look at the macros. So they have this a little bit over at 1,500 calories. They have this at 1,500 calories. And then if you look at the carbohydrates we're on, so we're on as far as like hitting the percentages of our macros. So now we're just going to go in and see if we can personalize this a little bit and make it realistic. But we need to cut a couple hundred calories off, so we'll see where the couple hundred calories are. All right, so here's where I'm gonna just go into edit and we'll just go from there. All right, at the 7:30 a.m. breakfast, let's go ahead and make that a half a scoop of whey protein. At the 11:30 a.m. lunch, let's go ahead and make that a half a cup of quinoa. At the 6:30 p.m. dinner, let's make that a half a cup of brown rice. And then at the 9:30 p.m. snack, let's go ahead and take out the strawberries. And let me see where that leads us. So I try to make sure when I'm doing a meal plan that I make sure that all the food groups are hit. She had an apple in there. She had some things in earlier. I make sure there's vegetables, there's enough fruit servings. I look at the starches. Quinoa sometimes isn't a very popular grain or starch, but for a smaller female and lower calories, it's a good choice because it's so packed with nutrients, fiber, protein. So the lower calories you are, you want to have more bang for your buck with your food options. So the first thing I do is I want to look where this ended us up. So we ended up at 1,362 calories. Our carbohydrates are good, our protein is on the higher side, our fat is on the lower side. So I want to drop the calories a little bit and we can make that drop. And now I'm just looking at the calories of each meal and make sure that's balanced. We got some right here, some granola, some Greek yogurt. So what I want to, actually I'm going to switch that out. At the 9 p.m. snack, let's go ahead and substitute the quarter cup of granola for 1 tablespoon of crushed almonds, and then make that a flavored Greek yogurt as well. All right, that about does it. Let's go ahead and let's get this finalized form in a finalized format. Yeah, the key thing when you're doing your meal plan is to stick to the guidelines, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Make sure you're hitting your fiber. Like I wanted to make sure she was over 25 grams of fiber. Keep the digestive system going. Keep the bowel movements regular. It's super important. The other thing is make sure that the meal plan is realistic. Now, the thing about meal planning is you don't have to stick to it. If you want to make a couple other meal plans, you could just go from this point and say, hey, let's make a couple more meal plans, and instead of salmon, I want this. We could have other options. Just stick to the guidelines and journal. You got to find a way to journal your food. So let's see what this has here. Let's go up to the top and, all right. Well, this looks really good so far. And some of you guys, instead of doing cups, measuring it through cups, you like weighing it on the scale, and you could use grams here. You could set it to do that. All right, so here we go. This is the last part. This is a finalized part of the meal plan. So here we go. I'm gonna roll slow, make sure everything is good. And just remember, AI is not as accurate, as perfect as everyone thinks. So you just gotta make sure that it's double checking. Like right here, it's recommending 1,300 calories, which what I recommend as well. Start on her total energy expenditure. She has right here 45-65% carb, 20-35% fat, 10-35% protein, and we'll make sure we hit that. Our wake up, our schedule, 7:30, 11:30, 2:30, 6:30, 9. I like that. We're hitting boom. This is meal 1, a little bit of oatmeal with some blueberries, flaxseed, a little bit of protein powder for the flavor. Get a little bit extra protein in the morning. And then lunch, we got grilled chicken, cooked quinoa, steamed vegetables, and then the snack we have an apple, peanut butter, perfect. You could actually substitute the peanut butter with let's say 10 almonds right there. And then dinner, she has a baked salmon, half a cup of brown rice, some steamed broccoli, perfect. And then the snack at night is some vanilla Greek yogurt with some crushed almonds. And then that's sitting right at 19 calories, 45% carb, 32% protein, 24% fat, which is looking really good as far as our macros. Has all of our examples here. So the importance of eating breakfast, importance of exercise, importance of eating healthy. So here's some notes that I'm going to send to her. Awesome. All right, guys. Any questions? Make sure to comment in the section below, or you could feel free to email me or message me. All right. God bless. Thank you for following me on that video. That was a fun one, and I chose that one because so many people are in that situation, especially your females, where you're thin, but you're starting to get fat, you're starting to feel flabby, you're starting to get a cellulite, not eating healthy, not exercising. This is exactly where people, and especially females, start to get overweight and start to pile on the body fat. Also, this is great for the women who are a little older that already gained weight, seeing what happened and why they gained weight. So that was a great one. A couple things I also wanted to address that I seen after looking at the video. It said the AI recommended 1,500 calories, but I went with 1,300 calories. And the reason was the AI was going off the idea that she was going to work out. Remember, initially it assumed she was going to work out. And I know after talking to this lady, she is not going to work out. This is not something she's scheduled to work out. She had no plan to work out. We don't want to put the extra calories into this type of female's meal plan, especially if she's not going to work out, because it will make her gain unnecessary weight if she's not creating the environment through working out to build that muscle. So I start at 1,300 calories. So even if she does start working out a little bit, she's not going to get muscle catabolism, because this is enough food to feed her low metabolic rate and then drop fat. And then when she follows up in 8 weeks, if she has a consistent habit of working out, then we could increase her calories, 200 to 300 calories at a time. The other thing I wanted to address was the meal timing. Initially, when I looked at the meal timing, I split it up because the way it had too many meal plans, and there was a big gap between 6 at night and her bedtime. So I recommended right here a 6:30 dinner and then a 9 p.m. snack. But when I ended up emailing her, I went ahead and made the 7:30 breakfast, 11:30 lunch, a 2:30 snack, a 5:30 dinner, and then an 8 o'clock snack. That was a more appropriate, after I had meditate on it and then email that to her. That's the schedule I went to. All right, guys, just want to mention that. All right, God bless. All right, hopefully that helped you guys see how easy it is to edit. Just a couple things when you're editing. Just remember, stay to the guidelines. Keep your macros within the guidelines of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. The big thing is making sure you're making it realistic, making a meal plan that's realistic for you. And I would recommend making one meal plan at a time before you make another one. Also, just make sure when you're going there and edit it that you stick to the calories, you stick to the macros, stick to the rules of meal timing, right? Like eat within 30 minutes of waking up and then eat every 2 to 4 hours after that. And then any questions, feel free to hit me up. All right, we'll look for you on the next video.